Star Wars Squadrons. Ah. I forgot to start installing it. I just bought it. I forgot to install it. Yeah. You can put it on a hard drive, right? You don't have to put it on an SSD. Okay. Because I have an SSD and a hard drive, so.
Didn't come this far just to leave you hanging. It's now or never, Vanguard. Protect the Victorum. This is taking too long.
Don't tell me this is too much for you, Frisk.
No. Trigger finger's getting tired is all.
Beautifully done.
Initiating system flush. How long should this take?
Longer than I'd like.
Backup Raider just arrived. 5, destroy the Raider.
There's too many fighters.
Turbo lasers are back online. Hybrid drive's nearly ready. Guess we'll keep you. No need to thank me.
Right now, I'm
Enough
playing
for
Fallout
me.
76.
I'm taking fire. Shields are disabled.
I can watch you too.
Stop it!
How much longer? Realigning the transpacitor now. Speak basic.
About halfway there.
Thank you. Had about enough of these bombers.
Enemy reinforcements inbound.
They got more bombers than us. It ain't fair.
Nice, yeah.
They're up against Vanguard Squadron. It isn't fair.
He said this is more fun than the space battles and Battlefront 2. Ah.
The Victorum shields are operational again.
They're behind me!
Yeah, that would be a bad idea.
Oh yeah!
We need you on those raiders, Frank.
Sure thing. Almost there. Running a diagnostic on the alluvial damper. Okay, great. Just do it.
I'm
Produce
alive!
80% more rounds with crafting ammunition. That'll be useful.
Lucky wing, pal. You're in rough shape, Vanguard 5. How can I help? You're good now.
I'd say Fallout 76 is not a bad game though. I actually like it,
Powering up hyperdrive systems now, Vanguard.
especially with post Wastelanders update, you know?
Be the hero.
Glad you're here.
Because it actually feels like a real Fallout game with players in the background.
Yes, it works.
How many fucking lasers? Holy fuck!
Finally, Vanguard following behind the Star Destroyer.
Don't have to tell me twice.
I installed it. It's fucking good to play with you. gonna install on my SSD for insurance policy. I took a nap earlier and Star Wars, not Star Wars, the fucking Bitcoin miner crashed while I was asleep, so I didn't get anything halfway into my nap. Yeah. Because I love like leaving the Bitcoin miner on while like asleep and then waking up to like more Bitcoin being mined. It's actually satisfying to see. But like you said, like even if it's 70 cents, it can still add up. It can turn to like $5. So I guess mining is kind of worth it in the long run. Do you mine? I said, do you mine Bitcoin? Or any kind of currency? Oh,
They
damn.
have to run out of ships at some point, right?
Not likely.
It was a lot more valuable 10 years ago. Like in 2009, if somebody mined 200 Bitcoins, they would have made almost $7 million. Seriously, somebody could easily mine 200 Bitcoins back in 2009. If they still had that today, they would have made easily $7 million. Can you believe that?
Move it, bud! You would. If somebody was early into mining Bitcoin, they would have been millionaires.
Project.
Easily.
Who'd want to get this close to the Ringale Nebula?
I believe that is the idea.
You could easily sell and you would be set for life. Essentially. Yep, and they're set for life. Fortunately, you're looking at the. Fortunately, you're looking at the flat display.
They've been gathering Imperial ships to build this.
For probably good reason.
Call it the Starhawk, and it's going to help us end this war.
General Syndulla.
Hello, Vanguard. Welcome to the Nadiri dockyards. I'd give you the tour, but the Empire knows we're up to something now. They'll be looking for us.
It's pretty funny how the Star Wars license no longer exclusively belongs to EA. Like, I know there's was there another AAA company that was making a Star Wars game? Was it Ubisoft? And who's developing? Ubisoft? Let me check.
An old enemy has finally surfaced. One of my spies has linked the attacks on our Star Destroyers
Holy crap, it's gonna be
with
hot
the New
tomorrow.
Republic Starhawk project. A common factor is Lyndon James. You knew James better than anyone, Captain Carroll.
You saw the Pacific Northwest? It's currently freaking hot over there too.
Betrayed us at Fostar Haven.
Then this is your second chance.
Well, yeah, that's
The
why I
rebels
said
are
that.
keeping a low profile. Take Titan
You live in the
squadron.
Pacific Northwest, so I can imagine how hot it is for you right now.
Gladly,
The United States part of it
Admiral
too.
But if I may ask, there's a particular pilot I'd like to requisition.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Greg, come in. Is it true we're getting a new pilot?
Copy, so. Captain Carroll's bringing someone in, John.
The treacherous slime taking our ships. Good. More the merrier.
Easy, Von Reg. Remember the last time you lost your cool?
The day I cut through a whole squadron of rebels and saved your neck.
Focus. Shen's right. Tighten it up, Sol. And Von Reg. Save a little for the enemy.
Overseer to Titan, finish your inspection. Your new wingmate has arrived.
Shit.
Oh yeah.
So, you're our new wingmate. Welcome to Titan Squadron. I'm Varco Gray, Squadron Leader. I think they're waiting for you in the briefing room. Better make a good first impression.
In September 2020, the candidate of Zug, Switzerland announced to start accepting tax payments in Bitcoin by February 2021. In June 2021, the Legislative Assembly of El Salvador voted legislation to make Bitcoin legal tender in the country. That's crazy.
Welcome home, pilot. It feels like a lifetime since Foster Haven, doesn't it? One fool betrays his squadron, and loyal officers like us are reassigned in disgrace. I heard they sent you to the Outer Rim. I got the Medem sector, protecting fuel shipments from petty scoundrels and pirates. The kind of posting that used to end careers. Before Endor. Before Lyndon Jabes reappeared. No doubt you've heard. Admiral Sloane has instructed me to hunt that traitor down and end this Project Starhawk. It seemed fitting that I bring you back to help me destroy Lyndon. Your Empire needs you, pilot. Are you willing? Good.
Yeah, I can see that.
For now, you will be flying as Titan 3. Let's get to work. Are we ready to begin? One of our spies, Agent Thorne, has discovered vital intelligence on Project Starhawk. Your mission is to extract her from an orbital outpost above Hosnian Prime. Your job is to secure the outpost for our extraction team, who will arrive aboard the shuttle Gladius. Behind enemy lines, you must be precise and swift. We have no room for error, Titan. To gain access, you'll have to eliminate perimeter defenses. Intelligence reports missile platforms defending Hosnian space. Destroy them. The outpost itself is protected by turbo laser cannons on all sides. Evade and eliminate them all. When you've secured the area, you will escort the Gladius to the outpost, and our extraction team will acquire Agent Thorne. Once Thorne is secure, reach your Gozanti cruisers and return to the Overseer. Do not lose our spy under any circumstances. That is all.
I heard multiplayer's kind of fun too.
Now, more than ever, the Empire needs...
I'm Rella Sol. No need to introduce yourself. I've already reviewed your service record. It's been a long time since you were on the front lines. In days...
Are you on the Empire side?
You're the new arrival? I'm Havina Vonreg. Titan can always use another pilot, so long as you're good at killing rebels. We're going right into their territory. Hosnian Prime.
Or get strangled by Vader.
Coming on? That's an interesting comment to come in on. What are you playing?
Newcomer. Welcome to Titan. Call me Shen. Before you ask, helmet stays on, cockpit or not. Too many hard landings.
Also, what's up, Chambers? It's been a while.
How you been doing, Gribzachi?
Pretty good.
The TIE Fighter. Classic. Maneuverable. Flexible. Can't take much direct fire, but that's no problem.
Are you playing TIE Fighter?
Your loadout, however,
It is
not
Star Wars
standard.
Squadrons.
And again,
Squadrons, got
neither
it.
are any of Titan Squadron's missions.
Never underestimate a TIE fighter. The TIE fighter is badass. Oh man, Sky ripped off its UI.
Is it really ripped off, or is it inspired by? Because I bet you most of the physics simulation they did themselves.
Since when TIE fighters in the Star Wars universe had jump capabilities?
Imperial fighters, divert course and leave this system immediately, or you will be destroyed.
Or gee, what's your Twitch handle nowadays? Because you keep on changing it because you keep on getting.
Mandalorian.
Scramble fighters quickly.
The underscore.
No doubt they'll reinforce from the surface as well as the station.
Rebels arrive. Don't leave.
I just DM'd you the name.
Sounds like a good strategy to me.
Titan,
Yeah, that's it.
the outposts out of defenses.
Oh, by the way, I just finished the main campaign for Titanfall 2.
Missile defense systems activated.
Titanfall 2 is such an underrated game.
No, that was my response because I was like, oh yeah, it's just Call of Duty with mechs, right? No, it's not. It's really not, and calling it that does a great disservice to the game.
It's an underrated game. Especially when it's made by former Infinity Ward devs that made Call of Duty 4.
I mean, I wasn't even really that into Call of Duty 4 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, but I just played through the campaign, and I gotta say, that is one of the best campaigns I've played in FPS in a very long time. So,
Yeah, Titanfall 2 had a great campaign.
yeah. The amount of work that must have gone into all those custom gameplay sections is actually kind of insane. Almost every single level had something special that was just a unique mechanic that's only in that level. They are in Titanfall 2. Oh, no, now I know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm assuming spoiler alert, but, you guys sound like you played through it, right?
I have.
Okay, yeah, the time travel one, I bet you can't be, but that was super cool. Some really unique level design. Well, it's Wraith's phasing from Apex Legends. Rather, I know what it was originally from that game first. Where some random person on the internet takes that out of context.
Our path is clear. Advance on
It's kind of weird how the first Titanfall's actual story was multiplayer based. Like, it's told a story through like a series of multiplayer missions. But
Yeah.
Titanfall 2 kind of improved that formula and just made it a real single player campaign.
Yeah, honestly, I think the single-player campaign was so solid, I would honestly buy the third if they just said it had a single-player campaign.
We should take out the shield.
Like, just to play the single-player. It was that good. So...
Rebel starfighters inbound.
Well, they did the opposite, because their first one didn't have a single-player, but their second one did. So...
Well, Yeah,
I don't know
Battlefield
about that.
2042 won't have a campaign either.
I mean, Respawn, I think, will. I mean, the most recent game Respawn's made is Fallen Order, and that's a single-player game, so...
Which I think DICE's move to have no campaign in a Battlefield game is kind of weird, though.
That company, too.
I know, but, like...
That's all I have to say about whether or not they should have campaigns.
I mean, if they made a Bad Company 3, I'd definitely buy it in a heartbeat, but they're not going to do that.
Keep it up.
They have a lot to live up to with that, right? So...
And the fact that 2042 will have a campaign, but the story will be told through the multiplayer, I'm kind of interested how that's going to happen.
I mean, I guess they're going to try what Titanfall 2, what the original Titanfall did, and then found out didn't work, and then did a normal single-player campaign in Titanfall 2, but...
I mean, I'm pretty sure 2042 will be a great game regardless, but still, I'm kind of interested how that's going to happen.
Fire on the outpost's turbo lasers. We need a clear landing zone for our extraction shuttle. Evacuate the transports. Get the cargo out of here.
I'm seeing a rebel transport.
I just hope EA servers are up to par with the launch of 2042 because there's going to be a lot of people on it. They already had to upgrade the servers for Battlefield 4 on the consoles because there was an influx of players ever since 2042's announcement.
Yeah, I know.
I'm here. Let's go.
I expect the servers to crash on the first day. What do you think, Orange?
Yeah, I was also playing Sea of Thieves a little bit earlier today. The new Sea of Thieves updates were really good.
It's an alright game. It kind of bores me after a while.
I mean, I feel like all the new Tall Tales they've been adding over the past, like, year and a half or so have been what the game kind of needed. It needed some narrative content. Like, honestly, I think Elite could... I don't think they'll ever do it. But I think Elite could actually use some narrative content. But they also probably should put in racing while I'm on the subject of things that they should have.
They should make a, they should upgrade CQC to actually have, like, on-foot team deathmatch kind of stuff. That'd be kind of cool.
Be cool. The big one that I'm just wondering why is, like, racing just seems like a natural fit in a space game, a space sim, because it seems like something that shouldn't be too hard to implement, that players could have a lot of fun with, that just builds off existing game systems.
Yeah.
So,
you know, put people in engineered like High Eagles or Eagles. Or
yeah, like maybe like have it. Yeah, exactly. Maybe have like tiers, like each ship has a tier list, right? So
yeah,
you know, this race will be like Anacondas only, just keep it a little bit fair, right? So you'll have like an unengineered tier and then like an engineered tier, right? So
or do with some, you get some FTLs and you have like a rocket race similar to Halo's rocket race. Maya, you remember rocket race, right? It was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
God, I miss rocket race.
That's another thing you could do. Race with weapons, race without weapons, right? So
yeah, that'd be awesome. And it has just have like the ships with no shields.
without weapons, no shield would be the really fun one. As much as I like weapons, having a ship that's paper on a high-G planet racing through trenches would be pretty fucking fun.
A race on Akinar 3.
Yeah, something like that.
Because Akinar 3 is like director's when
Yeah,
you
isn't
land
it
on
like... I've done it. Isn't it like 7 Gs? 8 Gs?
6 Gs of gravity,
6
yeah.
Gs? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6 times the Earth's gravity.
But something like that would make it really fun, because then you'd actually have people legitimately just crashing into things, right? So, like crashing into the canyon walls. That's what we're really here for, at least the spectators part of the race, right? So,
Yeah. Still, I can't believe there's a planet there's a planet like that with 6 Gs. But 6 times Earth's gravity, like, it's impossible to probably set foot on that. You'll probably get crushed.
Titan, this is Shuttle Gladius.
I'm thinking,
Inbound for extraction.
you pass out,
We read you, Gladius. Titan
you wouldn't
will
be
rendezvous
crushed.
with these coordinates.
Just a reminder, we subject people to brief bits of 6G as well in actual rocket launches and roller coasters and stuff. You actually, there is maneuvers and shit that pull 6Gs very briefly. But if you held that for any sustained period of time, you pass out. I'm pretty sure.
Is it actually possible to set foot on that planet? I haven't tried yet.
I'm taking fire!
I don't know. I haven't tried either.
Enemy behind you! Stay sharp! I'm here. Let's go.
Oh, okay, that answers my question. I hope when they get everything ironed out and they start adding content to Odyssey, I kind of wish they would just upgrade the planetary a little bit so you can actually land on stronger atmospheres.
I'm on your wing.
Yeah, just FYI, by the way, rocket launches and roller coasters briefly subject people up to 9 Gs. So,
I think they're shooting.
I emphasize briefly, though. So,
Good shot.
I was about to say, are those gimbals I see?
You picked up a tail.
I'm in position.
Gimbals on Star Wars Squadrons. GG.
hey, you know what? This is basically a single-player game, right? Single player, if it gets the job done, it gets the job done. Let him have his fun. I mean, did they balance it so that way Fix his hits harder, I take it? They had to, right? Oh, that's annoying.
Oh wow, the game's already installed. That was quick. That was quick. That only took 20 minutes.
Wouldn't be right back, guys.
20 minutes to install 30 gigs higher. That's why we get along so well, Myers. We're both fans of Star Wars.
Be careful next time.
Although I kind of waited on Squadrons because I wanted the price to go down. I didn't know how the game was going to turn out. Yeah, I got it for like $15.
You got a tail.
Yeah, in US dollars 15 and 20 cents, $20 for Canadian dollar.
I'm on your wing.
Good riddance, rebel scum.
Firefighters had a huge upper hand back in the day. Like, well, actually, even in the Star Wars universe, TIE fighters have a huge, what do you say, advantage over the X-wing. Not in shields, but they're more nimble than X-wings. Yeah. So, in other words, TIE fighters can easily destroy X-wings, even Episode 4 showed you that. Like, TIE fighters almost eliminated an entire squad.
Counterpoint. You're assuming that the average Imperial soldier, which, mind you, aren't those clones trained from birth after whatever. They're mostly Joe Schmoes picked out of the ground. Especially if the Empire starts having a lot of issues with the Rebellion and can't really afford to train its pilots all that well. Wouldn't it be better for them to be... Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Aren't most of the pilots and TIE fighters at this point just like people with that? Let's be completely honest. Probably don't have the training they need. So wouldn't it be better to stick them in a little bit more of a flying brick? Just throwing out an argument.
It's funny because the stormtroopers are actually well-trained soldiers. The thing about the whole like.
I'm just saying, it also kind of makes sense for the rebellion to want something a little bit less nimble, less reliant on the skills of the pilot, and more just solid, right? So
yeah.
Heads up, squadron. Enemy A-wings are deploying from the station.
It does make sense, right? So
yeah.
They're attacking our shuttle.
No, I was saying that about the stormtroopers is that if I remember correctly, even the stormtroopers, yeah, they are horrible at aiming, but last I checked, weren't they under orders not to kill Luke? Is that why they kept
depends
missing him?
on what point in the movie. Yeah, or like, space cowboy, or the princess or whatever.
Space cowboy or smuggler or whoever the fuck he is.
He's space cowboy. You know what? I'm so glad they sent Han Solo out in Episode 7 because then he didn't have to put up with the shit in 8 and 9. He was sent out on the high note.
Well, Harrison, if I remember correctly, Harrison Ford wanted his character to die to begin with.
He thought that he should have been written out in the 5th movie. That a natural end was when his character was frozen in carbonite, and he thought he should have been killed.
Not only that, he hated his role too. That's why he wanted his character to be killed too.
Well, Harrison Ford doesn't really like any of the roles he plays. He's one of those people where he like does it for the money. He doesn't even like indie. Yeah, he's but he's a good actor. So he's also a horrible pilot in real life. One moment. No, oh my god.
Unpopular opinion, Adam Driver actually did a really good job at his role.
Okay, so 2 crashes and 6 major incidents that have been registered with the FAA. Oh god.
It's funny how I mention that because people think I'm fucking crazy when I say that.
You're crazy when you say what?
That Adam Driver actually did a really good job at his role.
I think most of the actors in the new series did the best they could have done with the material they were given. I actually think the acting overall in the new series was actually very, very good. I think they were very oftentimes given kind of crap, mainly because there seemed to be no solid direction with where they wanted to go. 7 is basically just a retread of older movies. 8 seems to take it a completely different way than what the vision for 7, or for the matter of fact, the rest of the series is.
Well, the problem was about 8 was that it had a different director.
Well, it's not only that though. There's also like the issue where it didn't make sense not to have Luke in 7, because a lot of the things that made Luke be bad in 8 were actually because he didn't show up in 7. And they can't just be like, oh, well, now he's showing up and doing everything, because that doesn't make sense. So why wouldn't Luke show up in 7? Okay, well, it's because he doesn't want to, because he thinks it's better if he stays out of it, because he's not afraid of anything, right? Like, this is the guy that looked at Darth Vader and saw that something inside of him could be redeemed, right? Which also, the Kylo Ren arc doesn't make sense at all. This Luke's the motherfucker that looked at Darth Vader and was like, that guy has good in him. He's not the type of guy that would do something like that to Kylo. That entire thing didn't make sense. Anyways, I digress. But yeah, and then 9 completely, like, was like, hey guys, remember 8? Yeah, none of that happened, and just completely did its own thing, irregardless of the fact that now 8 doesn't make sense at all with what happened in 9. And a lot of stuff in 9 doesn't make sense because of what happened in 8. It's a train wreck. But
Agent Thorne is Captain Carroll's strategy. We gain nothing by destroying
I always said that the sequels actually made the prequels look even better.
yeah, they kind of did. At least the prequels had a solid vision the entire time. 3 was genuinely good.
I mean,
1 had good moments. Looking at you, Darth Maul fight scene, but
Oh god, I hated the pod racing scenes. It took up like at least like what 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Also, something I noticed about the prequels, Ewan McGregor gets consistently better in every single film.
He does.
He genuinely does. Like by the 3rd film, I'm like, it was very interesting because the actor seemed to grow into the role while the character was also growing up, which almost made it kind of natural. But yeah, he did a really good job. But I'm super excited for the Solo series, by the way. But
I mean, the only good recent Star Wars movie, in my opinion, was actually Rogue One, because Rogue One was actually a pretty smooth transition.
Yeah, Rogue. I was very surprised Disney had the balls to kill off all the main characters. I didn't expect that, and I'm happy they did because it didn't make sense with them not being in Episode 4. So I think they had to do something like kill them.
I always
But
thought.
I'm still surprised Disney had the balls to do it. So
I always thought that Rogue One was a good transition between Episode 3 and Episode 4 because, like I said, like Rogue One ends like minutes before Episode 4.
I would also like to point out that Rogue One does something very smart, and it makes Leia look like much more of a badass. Because in the first showing of Episode 4, you're like, yeah, she totally could have been like a diplomatic envoy. Yeah, Darth Vader, why are you troubling her? And then after watching Rogue One, watching the first scene of Episode 4, it's like Darth Vader's like, are you fucking kidding me? I literally just saw you. Motherfucker, you're lying to my face.
It actually explains Darth
Makes
Vader's
her look a lot
frustration.
cooler. So
It actually does explain Darth Vader's frustration in Episode 4.
yeah, I get it. Like he's like, are you fucking serious? Anyways, I'll be right back. I'm back.
You know.
I'm hit. Impressive.
Well, yeah. The only thing the prequels have in common with the sequels is that the second episode of the respective trilogies were the worst.
Yeah, I mean, there's also some stuff in A2 that was kind of, because I think we can all agree, the acting in the sequels was good. I think all the actors did a very good job, actors and actresses. I think a lot of the cinematography is very solid. Where it falls down is, my god, the people in the writing room, what were you thinking? A. And B, there is some fight scenes where you can literally just watch the people in the background, and they're like sitting there like doing that thing where they're like fighting in quotation marks, but they're like punching the air if you pay attention. Which is weird, because Rogue One had a lot of really good fight scenes.
Titan 3, regroup at the shuttle.
And then everybody got nuked by the Death Star.
We're clear of the station. Cover our escape and escort us to the jump point.
Everybody gets nuked by the Death Star.
We have Republic corvettes inbound.
I mean, we were talking about Titanfall, but another really good story is a Fallen Order. Fallen Order story is really good.
Take out those fighters. Protect the shuttle at all costs.
That encounter with Darth Vader towards the end was awesome.
I kind of do find it ironic, by the way, that the only reason we got Fallen Order was basically because they basically Respawn was given a green light to do any project they wanted because of how successful Apex was. So if it wasn't for Apex Legends, we probably wouldn't have gotten Fallen, which is just kind of funny. But
I'm in position.
Fallen Order became one of the best sellers too.
Yep. Well, I think at this point, and this is why I'm really hoping for a Titanfall 3, especially after playing through the campaign of Titanfall 3. I'm really hoping Respawn, EA's just, with Respawn, they're just like, just do what you want.
They should make
honestly, Respawn, I don't think Respawn should make the next Battlefield. I think DICE has a lot of very good people at it. I think they're very oftentimes stymied by EA. Because EA tries to control them too directly.
I mean, DICE did a good job with Battlefront 2, but EA's freaking business practices,
yeah, no, it's
launch.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not DICE. It's EA. EA's the problem. I think DICE are actually very good developers too. It's just, you know. Also, yeah, for the record, also BioWare is a very good developer.
But Anthem ruined their reputation.
No, they didn't. Okay, that was not the main BioWare studio that did Andromeda. That was BioWare Canada.
Ah, that makes sense.
It was literally they were the people that did the multiplayer for Mass Effect 3, and for whatever reason, they gave Mass Effect Andromeda to a first-time studio. That was their first ever AAA game that studio had ever made. And it showed. The sad thing